Hi, Abraham. Today's the best day ever. So far, and it's gonna get better and better. And I really have an intention of getting more clarity around this feeling good concept. Last week, I had a psychedelic experience where...
Before you go further, we want to play with you just this much. This feeling good concept or this feeling good experience? Because you just told us this is the best day ever, which made it sound like an experience, not a concept.
Yes, this feeling good experience. Last week, I had...
It only feels like a concept when you're not having the experience in that moment. Yes. Then it's a concept, it's a faraway dream.
So in this now feeling good experience, I'd like to share a little bit with a question.
Right.
That last week, I had a feeling good experience on psychedelics. And during that experience, I realized...
Was it a feeling of clarity?
Yes, there was a feeling of clarity in the sense that I started to experience not just from the egoic mind past memory structure, and I realized I was experiencing going up and down vibrational levels. If that makes any sense?
Doesn't.
I felt like...
Well, only in this way. If you're really tuned into who you really are, there's no going up and down. And so the two things that you said were contradictory. You made it sound like the psychedelic experience caused you to not be the normal humaning thing, but the going up and down is only a humaning thing.
I'm explaining it from a humaning perspective. From inner being perspective.
Isn't that just the way it goes? Because it does not matter what we know and what we say to you. It only matters what you perceive from what we say to you. It doesn't matter how brilliant we are. We're brilliant. It only matters how much of it you use to your advantage. So in any moment in time, you can prevent yourself from knowing what we know about you. So that's what we meant earlier. We don't want to get too carried away with this because we don't want to take you from your point. But we do want to say that your perception, your in the moment perception is what we're talking about all the time, because it doesn't matter what we know. It only matters what you know about what we know. And if you've let your life train you to know things that aren't the things that we know, then you're not receiving the benefit of what we know because you're so believing of what you've known before. Does that make sense to you? So you want to find a way to let your life teach you the principles and the laws of the universe that your inner being knows. And they're hard to miss because there's nothing in all of the universe to the contrary of those laws, of your point of attraction. So that's why, even though we really want to hear from you, we are going to stubbornly hold to what we know, no matter what you think you know about what we know. Fair enough?
Thank you. What I know is that when I'm listening to you, Abraham, there's a part of me that knows that I'm listening to myself in a way.
That's a perfectly fine way to put it. I'm me, myself, my inner being knows what I think I'm hearing Abraham say right now. That's what resonance is. You just described what resonance is. I'm feeling that in a deep way I know this. That's what resonance is. That's guidance. That's you and you coming together in absolute oneness. Yeah.
And in that state last week, there was pure feeling good. There was no guilt. There was a letting go of the old knowing of guilt, shame, whatever beliefs causes those states. And I remember, and I was in that state as a little kid. I felt like I was going home. Like when I was a little kid, I was there all the time.
Esther was watching some children play in the airport yesterday, and she said to her friend, do you remember feeling like that? Do you remember when you just felt high on life and eager about the moment? They all sat and watched these children who were demonstrating their pure love of life and an utter absence of anything in the way of that. Yeah.
So the work now is to keep aligning to that state and letting go of beliefs, reasons, lack of permission to not be in that state.
So what do you think is the best way to do that? To one bogus belief at a time, one thing at a time that feels bad, and then just using the power of your logic and knowing of the laws of the universe to feel around in life until you lean in the direction of what your inner being knows about it? Or is the best path to take psychedelic drugs so that you're numbed to the things that you usually know and just whew?
I think it's the way I prefer is to be in that state naturally to the best of my abilities at every given moment. And that experience helped me kind of reconnect to what is possible that I forgot.
And we just have a question. Be careful, because it's a trap.
Okay.
Our question is, what makes you think that that experience helped you to reconnect? Because it felt so great.
Yes.
Which is what we keep coming back around to. In other words, I had an experience where I felt my alignment. And we're just saying to you, you can find that feeling whether you're under the influence of psychedelics or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a part of me that's efforting, which that happens.
Tell us more what you mean by that, because it's a human trait and there's nothing wrong with it. You could say focus is effort. You could say deliberately choosing a thought that feels good is effort over just letting the thought that usually comes. And in other words, it takes focus. We like the word focus more than the word effort. But if you've been sloppy in your focus so that you got pretty far from where you want to be, then there's more effort in getting back to it.
The belief of efforting is that I need to have some external condition in order then to allow myself to feel that level of alignment, which I know is a trap.
Maybe there's some truth in that in this sense. What if the external condition which caused negative emotion,
My interpretation.
what if the experience that you didn't want to happen caused negative emotion, which caused a launching of a rocket of desire, but the new rocket, even though it's really powerful, is not where you're vibrating, and so it takes some deliberate, steady attention in order to bridge the belief or shift it. And what's required to do that is a desire to feel good. If you can start with the premise that you want to feel good, and then you can identify the situations under which you did feel good, and you can come to the honest realization that the times that you feel the best are when you're in most resonance with who you are. Now you have your own roadmap, and now there's no mystery. We want to give you something here, and you already know this, but we want to speak it in a way that makes it impossible to not know it. If there is law of attraction, and there is, and if it's only attraction, and it is only attraction, which means there's no assertion, then you're always calling to you whatever's coming, whether you want it or not, through your attention to it. So let's say that you believe that premise and that you're focused there and you really understand that you're getting what you're thinking about. And thinking about it didn't bother you so much, but now you've got it. The fleshed out reality of it is clearly not what you want. So you realize that you've attracted something that you do not want. So if you say to yourself, well, I did attract it, then you're home free. But if you do what most people do, by believing what you've been hearing yourself say, I said I didn't want it, so it's hard for me to accept that I attracted it. Or I gave these words and these words and these words to those people. In other words, Esther's saying to her contractors, I believe in you. So why is she getting something she doesn't want? What's the truth? Does she believe in them? Shocking. I want to control my life through my words. And I told you I thought you were good. Why weren't you? This is really a leading edge conversation we're having here. So when you begin to accept, when you accept that the thing that makes you feel like you have to offer effort, when that feeling of needing to offer effort is present within you, 100% of the time, this is what's going on. You're calling something you don't want and trying to hold it away with words. I don't deserve it. Yeah, you do. I didn't ask for it. Yes, you did. I don't want it. Well, that's the truth. I'm lost. No, you're not. I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. In other words, until you finally say, there's some tweaking that I could do that would get me the results more that I want, then we don't want to lose you in this by getting too many words out here. Let's bring it back to the simplest of things. Anytime you feel like you need to offer more effort, it's because of the push and pull you've got going on within you, and it hasn't got anything to do with anything else. And the push and pull means I've got beliefs that I am usually expressing with my words that are contrary to what I'm attracting, and I want my words to count for something. I want my kids to know I love them when I'm not acting like it. I want them to do what I tell them to do when they're not ever going to do that. I want to be respected, even if I'm disrespectful. I want my demands and my certainty. I want my deliberate creation to count. We don't blame you. You just got to understand what your point of attraction really is. So if you can walk out of here just knowing today that you've been offering some beliefs that are contrary to what you want, and that's why it's wonky, and that the effort factor isn't all these hard things that you think it is. It's just changing the subject, lightening up, acknowledging that your inner being loves you. You're looking for proof. You're trying to validate your worthiness. So let's go right there. Almost everything I do overtly with words and behavior, action, interaction with others, is to prove worthiness when I'm already worthy. Ooh, what an unnecessary struggle. I'm already worthy, but I don't believe I'm worthy. So even though I'm worthy, I just keep creating situations in order to get myself to focus upon the fact that I already am that. You're hearing this, aren't you?